This is Change Your Mindset Podcast, the podcast that helps change your life by helping change the mindset of the 99% into the 1% mindset. Here's your host, Adrian Gomez.
Welcome to Change Your Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Adrian Gomez. The term, the end of the world business, is actually a business. Surprisingly not. The biggest scams in the world have been those that involve the government, the mass media, and crooked ex-politicians. Actor, movie producer, and businessman Kevin Sorbo, who used to be played Hercules back in the day, had a list of official false flags publicized over the decades. These are all ploys to get billions and now trillions of taxpayer funds for their friends and families. The dates are very approximate, but the list conveys the fact that crooks always have new multi-year scam. And the biggest ones are global scare stories that involve saving the world. Who can dare oppose that, right? The list doesn't include the scams of the last 2 decades, such as the COVID vax. So on this list, it starts off with, in 1960, they claimed oil will be gone in 10 years. Never happened. In 1970s, another ice age in 10 years. Never happened. In the 1980s, acid rain will destroy all crops in 10 years. Never happened. In 1990s, the ozone layer will be gone in 10 years. Never happened. In 2000, ice caps will be gone in 10 years. Never happened. None happened. But all resulted in more taxes. The latest scares are multiple ones, starting off with global warming caused by oil, carbon, which is what all life is made of, nitrogen, which is 78% of the air we breathe, cow farts, gas stoves, dishwashers should all be eliminated. And we used to go back to the caves, basically. So racism, reparation payments, CRT, transgender, religions, defunding police, climate change, anti-carbon, anti-nitrogen, which is what people breathe, BLM, etc. Every program is designed to destroy from within. All these fear tactics I talk about the end of the world, is a business. People profit and make tons of money off these ideas and making people fearful, which is a shame. But most people don't even know what's even going on in the world, and they really don't even care. I'm going to read you an article about Minnesota and what currently has happened there. Because obviously the news won't tell you. You won't hear from people because most people don't even know what's even going on, like I said. But this would actually intrigue you and this would wake you up. Hopefully it does. So the article is from LeeRockwell.com. And the title is Minnesota Insanity is the Motto of the America Coming to Your State Soon by Gary D. Barnett, published in June 6, 2023. So the article starts, communism is what happens when socialists realize that they want complete control over every aspect of human life. And that quote is by A.E. Saman. So communism is not far away. It is as close as Minnesota, a state consumed by socialists, control freaks, and neo-Marxisms, all in a postmodern communistic political state. Given the ridiculous and pathetic sensibilities of this current American population, I must clarify that my statements are general in nature and not meant to offend those self-conscious, weak, and easily insulted conservatives and libertarian types who believe in Minnesota. This disclaimer should not be necessarily given any amount of individual intelligence or confidence. But all in Minnesota should by now be aware of the state of affairs in this communal hellhole of socialism. In case residents in other extreme leftist states, such as California, Oregon, New York, Washington, and many others, and this now culturally dead-end country feel ignored. Fear not, as most of you already fully understand the thinking and voting practices of your neighbors, So do not be disheartened for not being singled out. This is in no way whatsoever any endorsement of any state politics of the right or libertarian bent, as all politics, in my view, are asinine and of no use where freedom is concerned. I am basing this particular conversation on the very recent 2023 Minnesota legislative session conclusion. On the list of results completed during this dear Reign's effort in stupidity that brought about the list of changes below. And I'm going to go into the list right now. First one is establish a fundamental right to abortion through all 9 months of pregnancy. Next, declared Minnesota a refuge for children seeking sex changes. Next, passed the Take Pride Act, which will prohibit nonprofits that serve minors from discriminating based on gender identity in hiring practices. Next one is pass protections for women who travel to Minnesota for abortions, repealed protections for babies who survive abortions, stripped pregnancy resource centers of state funding, gutted reporting requirements for abortion facilities, expanded medical assistance to include abortion, taxpayer-funded abortion, repealed an informed consent law for abortion, legalized recreational marijuana use, increased government spending by 40%, raised the gas tax by indexing it to inflation, create a new delivery fee on all retail orders over $100, increased sales taxes and fees for vehicle purchases and registration, passed a metro-wide sales tax increase, enacted automatic voter registration, passed pre-registration for 16 and 17-year-olds, joined the National Popular Vote Counter-State Compact, funded a study on ranked choice voting, passed a bill to provide driver's license to illegal immigrants, passed a bill to provide health care to illegal immigrants, restored the right to vote to violent felons who are on probation, created a commission to design a new state flag, replaced Columbus Day with Indigenous Peoples Day, declared Juneteenth a state holiday, raised the threshold for a political party to attain or maintain major party status from 5% to 8% beginning in the 2024 general election, passed a bill to require Minnesota's electricity grid to be up 100% carbon-free by 2040, banned so-called conversion therapy, passed 2 gun control bills, including a red flag law and universal background checks, provided free college at state institutions to students and families with income under $80,000, passed a bill to provide free lunch and breakfast to all Minnesota students regardless of family income, increased spending on K-12 education by 10.2%, banned Native American mascots. Next one is raised fees for fishing, boating, and visiting state parks, created a hate speech database, banned no-knock warrants, created a program that will allow inmates who complete certain programming to serve just half of their prison sentences, created a state-run paid leave program that will raise taxes on employers and employees, established a new legal avenue for prosecutors to seek lower sentences, funded a new office of restorative practices that will propose alternatives to incarceration for juveniles who commit serious crimes, commissioned a study on abolishing caste bill, created a new public database that will assign climate scores to large businesses, capped rebate checks at $260 per filer with income limits and down from the $1,000 initially proposed by Governor Tim Walz. And that's the end of the list. So he goes on. Abortion, transgender, homosexual, hate speech, and racist legislation included 10 of the listed items. Increased spending, taxation, and socialistic welfare for any number of groups was evident in 14 or more of the past legislative bills. Fake and devastating climate change, green legislation, was passed in another 2 major legislation decisions. Another 5 had to do with voting lunacy, including a right to vote for violent felons. One very dangerous gun control bill, only to harm and disarm nonviolent citizens, that is meant to eventually strip all protection of the people against criminals in the state, was passed, which I am aware is a repetition. The rest are made up of bills to allow more violent criminal behavior, reward certain groups for extreme criminal activity, and outright absurd and insane politically correct nonsense. A few of the atrocities include abortion for all 9 months of pregnancy, including any survivors of attempted abortions, so they survive the first attempt of their murder and still be living, they can be purposely killed after birth. Taxpayer funding for this and all abortions is, of course, available. In addition, Minnesota has declared that it is a refuge for all little children's sex changes. State government spending increases in this time of hyperinflation was raised by a ludicrous amount of 40%. Also, increased taxation for gas and fuel, delivery fees for all retail orders of all goods over $100. Vehicle sales tax increases, metro-wide tax increases, free college provided for all families with incomes under $80,000, free breakfast and lunch to all regardless of income, and increased tax to use of so-called public state-owned parks, including more fees for all fishing, boating, and outdoor activities. We should not exclude the new tax for a state-run paid leave program that will affect very adversely all employees and employers. Of course, driver's license as well as free healthcare will be issued to all illegal immigrants as well, and at taxpayer expense, of course, your money. There was one bill of value out of the entire session, which included legalized marijuana use, and there was a ban on no-knock warrants issued and served by the murderous police. But there's not much difference in one knock and bashing down the door and just bashing it down without any knock at 3 a.m. in the morning. This is America most all of you have allowed to be created and exist. And the policies that will be not only in Minnesota, but in every state and community in the near future. So the people continue to voluntarily accept the state as a God and authority. No matter who is elected, selected, no matter which party is supposedly in power, no matter what promises are made by any candidate, no matter what heinous constitution exists, so long as government and the state survive, freedom and justice will never be achieved. And then he has a quote. The quote goes, quote, "The saddest desires to command and control. The masochist desires to be freed from the burdens of liberty. That is socialism." End quote. And the quote is from A.E. Saman, From a Race of Masters to a Master Race, 1948 to 1848. And that's the end of the article. Whether you like what was passed in Minnesota, whether you don't, that's up to you. That's not my choice to force upon you. Whether you agree with it or not, that's up to you. But if you do like your life as it is, if you like your freedom, if you like to do whatever you want, because at the end of the day, this is America, you need to realize what's really going on in this country. A lot of people, like I said, are brainwashed, have no idea what's going on. And like I said, I'm going to try to do my best to keep up with what's going on in this world for you. You have somewhat an idea. But a lot of people don't even know what's going on. How everything, your rights are getting taken away. Your constitutional rights are being attacked. And people are okay with it. People live in this bubble, don't even want to hear about it. They're all in delusion. Everything can change. People don't start waking up and realize what's really going on. How everything's being attacked. How life as you know it is being attacked. And that's scary. Like I said, if you like your life how it is, you like your freedom, you need to start paying attention, realize what's going on. And get your head out the bubble. Stop thinking like everybody else. Start making a change. Now more than ever. Because this is a very serious matter. People need to start waking up and doing something about it. Very few people are actually doing things about it. Most people don't even want to hear it, don't care, or just too scared to do something about it. It amazes me how many people have no idea what's really going on in this world. But they do know the latest movies, the latest artists, the latest games, the latest football players, anything else but besides what really matters. Everyone is distracted. And time will tell if everything does change, like how Minnesota has changed, if the rest of the country will follow. Because most countries are already almost there. But, like I said, people don't wake up. Life as you know it will change. So hopefully you wake up and you understand what's really going on in this world. There's way too many distractions. Keeps you from knowing what's really happening. And that's very dangerous. Stop being a sheep. Stop thinking like everybody else. Like the podcast says, change your mindset. That's going to do it for me. I appreciate you guys listening to this podcast, taking your time out of your day. As always, I appreciate it. If you guys can share this podcast with other people and inform them, hopefully they know what's really going on and they see what's being passed in certain states and they realize it can happen in your state very soon. So more people that are aware, the better. And obviously, the better we'll be off as a country as more people wake up and realize what's really happening in this world. So thank you guys again. Thank you, Patron member Blade262, for being a Patron member and helping support this podcast. If you'd like to be a Patreon member, the link will be in the description below. Thank you guys as always. I wish you the best. Take care, especially during these times. Be safe out there. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Change Your Mindset podcast. Be sure to tune in every week for a new episode. As always, change your mindset to change your life.